You know that feeling? You're cruising at 35,000 feet, you look out the window at the clouds, and you just kind of wonder, how on earth does this all work so perfectly, so often? We just assume flying is safe, right? But that safety isn't an accident. It's a system, an incredible, unseen system.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Millions and millions of flights crisscrossing the globe every single year. It's a modern marvel that flying is statistically one of the safest ways to get around. So how do they do it? What's the secret sauce that keeps this incredibly complex system running so smoothly?
Well, it all comes down to a single global rulebook. A shared blueprint that means the basic safety rules are the same whether you're taking off from Cairo or landing in Cancun. There has to be a master plan, right? So, what is it?
It's called Annex 19, and it comes from a UN agency called ICAO. That's the International Civil Aviation Organization. Their job is to help countries work together on all things air travel. You can think of Annex 19 as the master document, the absolute foundation for safety that has completely changed the game.
So let's pull back the curtain on this global safety blueprint, because it's not just a big book of rules. Nope, it's a whole new philosophy on how to think about safety.
And the magic word here is proactive. For a long time, aviation safety got better by reacting to things. An accident would happen, they'd investigate, find out why, and make a new rule. Annex 19 completely flips that on its head. The whole idea is to find and fix problems before they can cause an accident. It brings all the key safety ideas together into one focused guide for the entire planet.
Okay, so to really get how this works, we need to zoom in a bit. The whole system really starts at a country level, with something called the State Safety Program, or SSP for short.
And this is a brilliant way to think about it. It's like a sports team. The country's aviation authority, they're the coach. They drop the playbook, they set the grand strategy, and they watch over the whole game. Then you have the airlines, the airports, the manufacturers. They're the players out on the field, dealing with risks every single day. The coach makes the plan, the players make it happen.
So basically, the SSP is a country's whole safety game plan. It's all the laws, the regulations, and the big picture activities that a government uses to manage aviation safety. It is literally the coach's playbook.
And here's the cool part. Every country's playbook is built on these same 4 pillars. First, you've got the safety policy. That's the state saying, this is our commitment to safety. Then, risk management, where they look for hazards on a national scale. Third is safety assurance, where they check on the system with audits to make sure it's working. And finally, safety promotion, building a strong safety culture with training and communication. It's a universal structure everywhere.
Okay, so that's the coach's plan. Now let's zoom in even further and see how the players, the airlines, airports, and so on, actually run the plays.
Every one of these organizations has to have its own safety management system, or SMS. This is their own internal day-to-day system for managing safety. It's how they take the coach's big strategy and put it into practice. So for example, the state's SSP might set a limit on how many hours a pilot can fly. The airline's SMS is the nitty-gritty system of scheduling and tracking that makes absolutely sure no pilot ever goes over that limit.
And who needs one of these? Pretty much everyone. It's not just the airlines. It's the airports you fly out of, the air traffic controllers in the tower, the companies like Boeing and Airbus that design and build the planes, and all the maintenance crews that keep them flying. Every single link in the chain has to have one.
And here, this is where the magic really happens. Does this look familiar? It should. The 4 pillars of an organization's SMS, policy, risk management, assurance, and promotion, they are a direct mirror of the state's SSP. It creates this perfectly seamless system where the national strategy and an airline's daily operations are totally in sync, all speaking the same language of safety.
So, we've got the coach and the players, all using the same playbook. But how does the team get better? How does this whole system constantly learn and adapt? Well, the answer is data. Lots and lots of data.
But what's really important to get is that we're not just talking about raw data. The system runs on what we call safety information. You see, that's data that's been processed, analyzed, and turned into something useful, something you can actually act on. It's the difference between having a huge pile of numbers and having a clear warning sign.
And this brings us right back to that huge idea of being proactive. The old reactive way was learning from a crash after it happened. The new proactive way is analyzing data from thousands of flights to spot a tiny hidden trend and then fixing it long before it could ever cause a problem. It's all about preventing future failures, not just learning from past ones.
This information comes from all over the place. Sure, there are mandatory reports for certain things, but what's just as crucial are the voluntary reporting systems, where a pilot, a mechanic, or a controller can stick up their hand and say, hey, something here doesn't feel right, no matter how small it seems.
Now, for that to work, people have to feel safe reporting things, right? Especially their own mistakes. And that's where this bedrock principle comes in. Annex 19 champions what's called a just culture. It means we have to protect the person who reports an error from being punished. The goal is never to point fingers and assign blame for an honest mistake. The goal is to learn from it so the whole system gets safer for everyone. If you take away that protection, that flow of life-saving information just dries up.
So you see, when you put all these pieces together, the coach, the players, the shared playbook, and the constant learning, you get this incredibly powerful and successful blueprint for safety.
At the end of the day, it's a system that's proactive, not reactive. It's layered, so everyone shares the responsibility, from the global level right down to the person on the ground. It's completely data-driven, turning raw data into real intelligence. And it's all built on a foundation of trust, a just culture that encourages people to speak up. That is the unseen system keeping you safe in the sky. And that just leaves us with one final thought. This model, proactive, layered, data-driven, and built on trust, is unbelievably effective. So the real question is, whether you work in healthcare, or tech, or construction, what could your industry learn from aviation's blueprint for safety?